Depending on who they'd probably be in that story.
Oh, wait a minute. When we. That might be in the back wall.
All right, so I guess
We're live.
we'll call to the Bunganut Park Committee.
Yes,
I
you
guess
got
that's
it.
what we call it. All right. First up, I guess, I can't believe I'm running this one. This is one thing I didn't want to do. I guess we need to have a person in charge. What would you call it?
A chair.
Chairperson. There you go. I should have known that. Anybody? I'd like to not be personally. Anybody wanna?
No, I don't, I can't.
I can't.
Wow.
Is that your stuff?
There's some stuff right there.
I'm not gonna do that.
For the, you know,
All at once.
Mhm.
Look at the show.
I will, if I'm nominated, I'll do it.
I nominate Michelle.
I'll second that
I'll
nomination.
third it too, just for the sake of it.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Oh, you
Wanna
already
switch
did. Oh, you
it
gotta
All
try the
right.
good seat too.
Hey, it's a good seat.
Tom calls it.
Oh my gosh. Thanks,
It is
guys.
nice. I've never
So
seen
now
this.
we get to do a vice chair though. This is for
Oh,
some.
really?
Yeah.
What does a vice chair do?
If I'm not here and they can step in and do things.
Yeah,
If I'm not here,
Reschedule a meeting.
I'll volunteer for that.
you'll volunteer?
Yeah.
Oh,
We
thank
have
you.
volunteer. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. So Karen's gonna be our vice chair.
But
Now
I
we
know
need-
how dependable you are.
That's right, that's why she volunteered.
And then last but not least, we need a secretary.
I'm the last, no.
Oh, he's got the pen and everything right
No,
there.
I'm the last
stapler.
one. And the stapler.
Oh,
Kevin,
he came with a
Kevin, you seem very
stapler too.
organized.
Is that
Do you wanna be-
secretary? I'm on TV.
I can be.
Would you be, I think you'd be really good.
Okay.
I know, not that you ladies would be, but I know you have PTC.
Yeah.
And you have Parks and Rec and you're. Do you have time to do notes and stuff like
Sure.
that?
Oh,
You will?
that's very
Let's make the motion.
So you make a motion for,
Yep. Anybody
Rick
else
Kevin?
second, secretary?
I'll second.
All right.
All in favor?
Yeah, that's your job. sir.
Hey,
All right, so we
Only if
have,
you want to.
we have our little people here, all right. And Lizzie's gonna be gracious enough, I know, to help supply us with information as we go, and things like that. So I guess just to be consistent with the rest of the boards, I know Lindsay did a fantastic code of ethics policy. So maybe you could bring one, like email us all a copy of it to review and we could sign it at the next meeting. Would everyone be okay with that? Just to follow what the other committees are doing and make sure we're staying in line with that. Sound like a good idea?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Tom, how many of you kind of watched the ARPA meetings and watched what was going on there, a little bit of that? All right, so Tom has a list of some of the tick items that were talked about during ARPA that he was kind enough to copy. I thought we can all just kind of take a look at these, and I think maybe today's just kind of a brainstorming idea of what we see on these, and then where we have thoughts of where we wanted it to go, park side and field side, because they're both going to be very different. And there's some great maps to look at here too.
Yeah. And also to understand, as of right now, there is no ARPA money
Correct,
available.
correct.
So,
Yep, so this is something that, hopefully as budget season approaches, just like Kennybunk Pond started, we can ask for an account to be created and start. Yes, Lindsay? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so maybe a small fund that the town contributes to, but I think you had looked at some grants.
Yes, I had researched a tiny bit.
Nice.
I would love to learn more about how to do that.
Mhm.
I've never done that.
Karen, you've done
some
grants,
in the
right?
I have not.
Isn't it, you've done grants? Perfect. I know, there was,
There is another program I was looking into, and it's the ARPA, no, I'm sorry. It's the Elder Friendly Program, and it's through AARP. I don't know all the specifics about it. I was looking on their website, and municipalities can opt into that program, but when I was reading it, it sounded like we might have to develop, it sounded like you kind of need like an elder-friendly liaison or somebody that sort of oversees that program. I'm not sure entirely. I only read
like
through it.
that.
But in being part of the Elder Friendly Program, they give you grants for a lot of different things.
Wow.
It could go towards handicap doors at the town hall, or it could go towards, Parks and Recs. You could use it to
Well, even this,
renovate your trails and stuff like
which
that.
need to be done because they're not handicapped.
Yeah,
friendly at
yeah, so
all.
that might be another resource to look into if we want to be a part of this elder-friendly program
Mm-hmm.
through AARP. I'm not
Does
greatly certain on.
Anyone have connections to AARP?
Just keep up my membership.
Just something I'm
It's
putting
too
out there,
insulting.
if you,
Yeah,
I
no.
want to look into it too, and you guys, if you want to look into it, but. something
I know
like
Holly and I had looked at stuff and the state has some really good ones for trails and they do it
Yeah.
every year. I think you have to apply in June though, so we probably missed this year, but we can start gearing up for next year to apply for it.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of that program?
Land for Maine Future, maybe? I can double check. There was a couple. And then there's a trail specific one we're developing.
I mean, next June.
Yeah,
It's
but
probably
it's gonna
right on
go,
though.
right,
Because by the time,
we get
Yeah.
kind of things mapped out and thought about. Do you want to just have for next meeting, the
Mhm.
names of those programs
Mhm.
to go over so everyone has or should email and everyone can kind of look before we meet again? So let's check these things out. So the ticket booth, was that taken care of a little bit at all, or that's
I
still
don't
a
think it was touched
disarray
at all.
Nothing's been touched. The bridge hasn't been touched. There was no money for anything.
Picnic tables basically is all that's, picnic tables are. all
Yeah, and I don't know who
Oh,
did
no,
that.
we did get picnic tables.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
that's all that's changed down
Yeah.
there.
Okay, so picnic tables,
And the
which is
trees.
by the pines, that's taken care of?
No,
No,
the picnic table is just to replace the ones that the trees.
Oh, the trees
trashed.
crushed, okay.
yeah,
They both
What
did
is the
picnic.
ticket booth
Yeah.
requirement?
that's
It
requirement.
Yeah,
needs
like
a
what-
booth.
It needs, and the
completely
building
is. Okay.
is sinking, it's molded,
Oh,
it's
so
There's
disgusting.
critters living in there.
Again, I really truly feel, man, a sidewalk,
Oh, absolutely.
so that
When
we
was the
could
last time
all.
anyone's been down there?
Springtime.
Springtime, yeah, winter.
So maybe we could plan our, like, weather dependent, maybe we could plan either a Saturday morning, if we can, or a Sunday morning and go out there and take a
I'd
look along the
encourage a
road.
Saturday at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
If you
That
can
would
see
work for
how
me.
many kids are on that field at 10 o'clock.
I
don't know if I'd
Yeah.
encourage that.
Yeah.
It is mad, it is mad. They park in the parking lot for the beach. They fill this parking lot and we always use the little lower one too.
So, and that goes to like, how much more parking do we need? These are all things like, do we have a head count? Do we ever know how many people will show to these things?
They're very strategic with the way they assign games so that
Because of parking?
we have one team in at a time. Two is max, two is definitely max. And we try to stagger the start times of those two so that we get traffic in and out.
Mhm.
And
But
that's
they,
the
they use the beach heavily this week.
soccer, Massabesic,
Yeah.
Yep.
what is it called? United?
Massachusetts United.
Yeah.
So Rusty and I are both on that board.
Good times.
Yeah.
First week of soccer though, man, there was so many kids. So many kids. It's so cool to go by and see just fields of kids just going crazy. It's pretty cool.
Is this Saturday out of the question for a site visit?
It's
There's no
it's
soccer.
Labor Day weekend.
It's Labor Day weekend.
There is no
No.
soccer
Yeah.
and.
I have no plans, obviously.
I'm not around.
Yeah.
Wanna go camping?
Isn't the snack shack being taken care of though? Isn't that the one that
Yes.
is being done?
Saturdays, they do.
No,
the
no,
snack
but they're
shack.
gonna take care of the stairs. That's
We
the-
haven't voted anything in.
But that is the one thing that's gonna be
I agree that. I think
That's coming
the
under
one.
capital
Has
improvement.
to
capital
change.
improvement that
Yeah.
will happen because of the dangers.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
And I did check on it because someone mentioned the siding if we did the stairs now, but I forgot at the time, the siding starts like 8 feet up.
Yeah.
Because it's concrete walls below it, so there's no interference.
So I think maybe just kind of to get a feel for everyone where it's at, and why we all came to this committee, why don't we just start down the line and see what you see is the biggest need for Bunganut and what your vision is for something Bunganut, and we'll start with Kevin.
These, I'm gonna tell you, these will definitely change.
Yeah.
Once you've been on the property.
So you've done these awesome maps, which are amazing. Thank you so much. If you guys want to look at these too, we'll see if we start doing this. What's your thoughts on Bunganut and what you see?
my main thoughts is it's a beautiful property. It's definitely a town asset. I would like to see the basically the whole Bunganut experience become like a break even for the town. Right now, it's costing taxpayers money. I'd like to see it break even or even turn to the black a little bit. Like some ideas for doing that. I mean, the Y is a great program, but I think we might be possibly selling ourselves short, putting all eggs in that one basket. Just for an example, there's another pond in town, there's a enterprise, I want to call it, that brings in rec programs from 5 other towns to their little tiny beach area.
Oh, wow.
And they charge per child or whatever. I think there's other opportunities that we could use outside the Y for bringing people in, that kind of thing.
Thanks. What's your
I
thoughts?
didn't know.
Your turn.
I don't know. I guess more of what I utilize at this point is the field side. So I probably have more of a vested interest in that side at this point. I do know that there's a lot of unused property. I like the trails or whatever, things that we could be doing as a town to promote the use of those. I did like your idea of like a little playground or something. Parking is a huge issue. I don't think you need to add that much more in order to make it flow more
Just
efficiently.
more fluid parking,
Yeah,
kind of
maybe just a
designed
more
better.
fluid design. But I do have a bit of interest on the other side of the road now. And I do think it's definitely an underutilized property. People definitely don't realize that it's in our town, that we can utilize it, that you can use it.
Do you see, is there anything on like the lakeside that you feel is missing or that is hard when you go there? Or
So I actually haven't really been like with kids or whatever. I know that my son went with camp this year and they said that is there not a lot of sand area or, yeah.
There's really no.
I think that was a big complaint.
In fairness, we've had ridiculous rain
Yeah,
because beach does appear slowly,
yeah,
slowly.
right,
But there's no sand.
right. And most kids that go to the beach want.
what
play in
the
the
standard
sand.
is to sit in the stand.
Yeah, exactly. So I think
Yeah.
maybe just a rethinking, maybe more recs or more places would want to utilize it if they're,
We
if
had more sand
it's
and that's a
nicer, yeah.
DEP thing for sure.
Yeah.
Holly?
I just think we could utilize all that land a little better, and I really would like to have activities all year round. So we could do things, have things for the town, parks and rec, and all that. It needs more.
Yeah.
So almost like it would become the community center, like of
Yes.
activities for Parks and Rec
I'd
to be
like
able to
more,
have,
just like we're doing over here, to do more.
to do it and have one centralized
At
place where
Bunganut.
you're kind of doing everything there.
Is there a hill there? Did you say that there's a hill?
There is a
Small.
hill,
It's a small hill.
but it's upstairs.
Yeah, it's got railroad ties and kind of like embedded, not
Yeah.
ties, is that the right word?
Yeah, I think
It's
it's
actually one
like,
of my biggest pet peeves.
because
about
we
it,
could do
because
sliding.
you can't get down
Sliding,
there.
but we
It's
can't
not-
because of those.
It is.
When the
It
snow
really
is
needs
thin.
it needs a switchback.
The corners.
Definitely.
But if it could be
There's
used into
not
like
that- enough
sledding
hill
at some
there.
point.
Right.
Imagine
If
a
it
town
didn't have
sledding
those
event.
ties.
Yeah.
They can clear a spot.
That's what I mean. If we
Yeah,
cleared a path
you can
down
clear a
that
path
hill,
to slide.
if we,
have it.
yeah.
But we
then-
would need to clear it.
Yeah, but man, that's
But because that
that's a
would-
great.
that's
never even
something we
thought
could
Something
of
like
that.
that, and then maybe even there could be ice skating on the lake too as
I was just thinking
well.
ice skating.
Because
Ooh.
that
They
would
used to
be-
years ago in the little pond behind the little parking lot. That used to be skating.
Oh, really?
That
Here?
the irrigation pond.
Yes.
Wow, that
Yes.
tiny.
What happened? They just stopped using
They
it?
just stopped, I guess. I bet you there's probably still signs that say not skating.
I didn't know it was that.
I didn't
Brushed
know
in,
either.
like I couldn't even stand on the edge of that.
Yeah,
Not
Not
anymore.
anymore.
But
I
it used to
mean-
be a good place. People,
But it
lots
Wow.
of people used to
Potentially
go,
still could be.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
which is
that
a
would-
little safer than the lake.
Yes,
Yes.
Mm.
and probably freezes faster.
I feel
too.
better, yeah.
You can still put a little shack there with for skates and stuff like that, snowshoes.
It's got power.
Yes.
Holly,
So,
Holly W., what's your thought?
I'm
Cross-country
Thinking the
snowshoeing.
same lines as Holly. I walk out here a ton. Unlike Liz, I don't have kids that use that soccer field, so I'm not familiar with the logistics of that. But I walk all around both sides, and it has so much potential. You can see where there were trails, and they're just kind of logged over or just all grown in. So that's what I would like to do, and year round too. Snowshoeing. I don't know about cross country skiing, but people have their own equipment. Definitely the ice skating would be fabulous.
All right.
Yeah.
And then-
And also, I feel like it abuts this
Yeah.
York County soil conservation
Right.
land.
Right.
And there's, I mean, I don't know if we could coordinate something with them. Melissa Brandt is who I've talked
I know
to.
Missy, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I went to school with her.
She's,
It's Nancy's daughter.
I've talked with her quite a bit about when they started logging over there. I emailed someone
Mm-hmm.
over there to find out what the, like, hey, what's going on, and she was the first to respond, and so we've been in contact ever since
Oh,
about
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah.
Land
Maybe she
use
would
in
want-
general
yeah.
out there. She let my husband and I, we actually, Brad opened up the gate
Mm-hmm.
here for us. We dropped a snowmobile, and we have a groomer, and we groomed a little trail so we could snowshoe out there in the
Oh,
winter.
That was great.
And she said, yep, have at it, so.
Oh, good.
If we do that on our trails,
Right.
Yeah. Well,
it'd be a long ways.
one thing was, and I don't know if it's a possibility, and this is probably way down the road, but one of the things we were talking about is a cross-country meet run.
Ooh.
Because then you would have schools that could run and rent it as well. There's not many, in Southern Maine, there's not that many cross-country trails to run. Like usually we go to
Right,
McDougal Orchard
Oh,
and they
wow.
run that. And then you have to go way up north to do those. And we have the trails and it could be a fantastic, actually place for the high schools to be able to have their cross-country races as well down the road. I think the same thing, like a trail system for cross-country skiing, hiking, walking.
Mhm.
I know the Boy Scouts are supposed to do signs again. I don't know where that got left. Seeing what potential we have for those buildings that are there, the stone building, the Boy Scouts building, what in the mansion apparently needs some work from my understanding too, that the Y has had for all these years.
Which one is that?
It's the
Sorry.
big one.
This one?
Green
The
building.
big, yeah, the one that's on the water.
Oh.
That sort of kind of,
By the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
isn't it over here?
It's up here, right here, isn't
Oh.
it?
Is that the Y? I thought they were closer to the
It's the
water.
long one up by the parking lot. Up by
Yeah,
the
they're
road.
outside
Is
the
it?
parking lot.
Yeah.
Right up by the road.
So, and apparently it needs some work. I haven't been in
Been a
it
while
over that
since it was
way
built.
in years.
Painted.
Yeah, like some of the windows don't stay shut, I guess. They have some people living in there during the winter.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, gosh.
the windows were
You
staying
know,
locked.
Shame on me, but I meant to mention it earlier in the spring. I was out by the pond. Where the Y kids hang out right here in this little strip.
Yeah.
In the summer, and there's a building here. I don't know if it's a spring. It's vandalized. It's vandalized pretty bad on the backside. I don't know, maybe the Y took care of it, but
I don't
I
know.
thought, oh, the kids will see that for sure.
Oh dear,
So,
I didn't even know there was a, she said there's a shack over here.
I think it might be the pump house.
The pump house?
that-
there's a few.
That runs the irrigation system for the field. There's a small building on the edge of the pond.
Right
Okay.
There
It
it
is on that side,
Yeah.
wherever that pond
Yeah.
is, yeah.
So that's something to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see the same thing and, and just cleaning it up and again, finding instead of, maybe the town gets to be the one renting it out. I know Rusty had a great idea during the ARPA meetings of the Pines, down there, building a pavilion where, because people have like weddings there.
Mhm.
You can rent it out and it's a really big place that you can rent out by having like a pavilion with like
Wow.
a sheltered place so people could go, have their, even if it's raining, can still have their event, maybe a little tiny outdoor kitchen where they can do stuff
Wow.
and then rent it out and you would definitely make some money off of that. Again, self-sustaining,
Yep.
even just breaking even would be fantastic instead of the 80-something thousand we're hemorrhaging right now, on both sides. So that's my same thoughts with you guys too, is just to, something that benefits the community, because right now, I don't know a lot of people that go there and I live here too. I don't even take my son there. It's just, you go there and there's only these little paths to get in if you don't get there early enough and over where the picnic tables are in the open area with the play equipment, it's bog. So if you go to put your towels down, you're mainly sitting in the bog. There's no dry spot to lay your towel out to sit. So if you can't get one of the picnic tables, the big grass area is huge. It's bog. And it's just, you can't, so there's nowhere to sit. You have to bring your chairs.
I think Brad did find a small solution to that. Somewhere the drainage ditch that goes under the bridge that's fallen down was clogged. Someone had actually literally piled dirt and shut that river down, which was keeping all of the water in the field. And so.
And it's also lower too. So as I know, and he had talked about fixing that. I don't know what happened, but yeah, so I think just little by little, see what we can get for funding. Some of this might require contact with DEP because it's near the water. We did have the trees that came down that had to be taken care of. I know that was a concern to residents on the lake. So I think no one likes being on camera, but I think being open and transparent through anything we do is like key to keeping people involved. And if they have concerns, they can hear that we're really taking this seriously and doing what's best for the town and the property that the town owns.
I think the
what's your
Pines
thoughts?
is
The Pines?
is our biggest cash cow that we could start making money in on. I think it needs power. I think that's the first thing I think needs is power. If you're gonna do an event, you need power. You need, whether it's music, whether it's, a PA system, whether it's whatever, warming up a crock pot, whatever. I think power's huge over there. And I know we had an estimate within the ARPA to bring power across, and it was pretty high. I almost feel it might be easier for CMP just to put another meter. And they give us one pole, and that's almost right there.
Right.
So
right.
I was trying to think of a way to get power that, I think power is huge, but a pavilion is something that, and once we get the infrastructure there, I think you can rent that place out so much more than we are.
Right.
It's
It can just be an
such
open pavilion. It doesn't have to
it's
be
an incredible
closed in
place.
thing. Yeah.
It's an incredible place. It just needs
A little
to come to like the 20th century with power and things like that. You could dress it up by putting a porta potty in a little building. It doesn't have to be just a porta potty sitting there. It could be on a platform. It could dress it up for pretty inexpensive.
Well, that was one thing that was mentioned by a lot of people is a changing place. Right now, apparently there's a woodshed with no light, and you may or may not have critters in there with you to change in. There's no place to change there. So, and there's no, that's an issue. So.
One more thing that you said that reminded me, in walking out here around the Boy Scout area, there are a few maybe they might be old outhouses or something. It'd be really dangerous for kids.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. I think I might have.
Is that down by the beach where the Y
No,
is?
it's not it's not near the beach. It's more out in this area. I want to say there's like 2 or 3, and they're just holes in the ground. The building has literally fallen down, and then there's.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not good. And kids like to find those things.
They do.
They do.
So just a
Watch
consideration.
this.
I don't know how you clean that sort of thing up.
Yeah, is that would be, well, how long, yeah, it probably depends how long it's been,
If
it's had,
It's the way the rest of the stuff is it's all rotted and.
it's gone.
I'll take a look. I don't think I made it up that far. Is that where that house is that the Boy Scouts?
It's up that
in and
direction.
around that
yeah.
area, yeah.
I haven't made it that far
That
yet.
little stone hut, again, I don't know if anybody's seen it, that little stone building that's out there is like screaming weddings. It's just screaming photographs for things like that. It's so,
There's some cool stuff.
it's really
Get married
cool.
here and here's your building and have your
And
life.
you could, man, there's so much potential there. So much potential in the Pines.
And what do you see for issues or thoughts for the field side? You haven't, you did water side. So field side, I know the snack shacks.
I mean,
what you said.
the snack shack needs siding and things like that. The stairs obviously need to be replaced. Do we need water? It's a luxury. It'd be great, but then if you need water, then you're talking septic, and that's a lot of money.
But that's just kind of potable water.
Parking, I think, is really the issue.
Yeah, parking is,
Parking,
the water we get by.
right. And yeah, why not leave it up to the the teams to bring their own water.
And you kind of see like, it should be like a parking where it's designed maybe for an in and out where
I think
more
it's just
better flow.
right. It used to. There's so much growth on the backside.
Yeah.
That we used to have a row right along the field,
Right,
back to back in the middle, and then one on the outside.
right.
But now the growth has come in so much that they do one on the field, one on the back, and the middle's just turning around space basically. And so it just needs to be a little wider. If it was a little wider, we could get that center row back in there. You'd put 40 extra cars in there.
And maybe that could be part of like if the grants pay for, like if it's gonna be trails, that could be part of the expansion.
It could be the parking for the trails.
Parking for the trails, which is all inclusive of that area. Any other thoughts for
Field side, I think that's,
That's it?
I mean, it's
lights?
the most, yeah, it's,
I know.
it's amazing. The
We
field's
do want
amazing.
lights, actually.
Yeah,
it'd
well, I
be
mean, that
amazing,
would be
but-
beneficial down the road, even for, like I said, if the lights pointed towards the ice skating, that would be a benefit to have lights for nighttime skating.
We're actually thinking, as a board for soccer, to poach a local business to put in like the temporary lights. I don't know if you've seen that
Yeah.
MAFAC has.
Yeah.
Just to use those.
That'd be a good idea. That's awesome.
Because, I mean, 7:30, 7 o'clock, teams are still out there practicing and it's pitch black. No, come
And relying
October.
on headlights.
Right, and it's headlights,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
played by headlights.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah. Your thoughts?
Well, I will be right up front. I've never been to Bunganut other than driving by it, so I'm gonna come with a totally fresh perspective.
That's
my
awesome.
awesome.
I think
superpower.
that's great.
That's that.
for
But,
sure.
I have been listening to, along the way of, what people have been talking about. And it sounds to me like there's some basic infrastructure things that need to be addressed first and foremost, and then keep building upon that. What I'm really interested in is hearing what does the town want? What are the needs of the town? So that we're catering to the people of Lyman and not everybody outside of Lyman.
So kind of like have a poll that they did for ARPA?
Survey, poll.
A survey go
something
out
like
to what people want to see field side and park side, when we want to do the survey, would everyone want to see what the town, like, look for on for a couple months? And
Be interesting. Would be really
Lindsay, could you kind of put out a survey monkey?
Yeah, I think it, like how to word it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, if anyone comes up with any kind of wordage of what, as the Bunganut committee commences, does anyone have any thoughts on?
Right, yeah.
Was there one for cable? Pond?
Did you guys do one for Kennybunk Pond?
We
a
did
survey?
not. There were a lot of complaints, I'll say, a lot of feedback that had poured into the town hall prior to our committee being formed. So we worked off of those as the basis for what we were doing moving forward.
Almost like a survey.
An unsolicited survey.
I'm still stuck on the slugging call. I'm excited for slugging call.
You're the first one down it, okay?
Yeah. I'll cut that back.
Yeah, so other than that, the only other thing that I've heard that wasn't mentioned already is some people have told me that it's really difficult to carry out kayaks. I don't know if the pathway is just not,
Yeah, there's no easy way the stairs
there's
are.
no easy way, and you have
Yeah.
to drive your car up and then take your car out, so that's on my list.
That's true. That's so true.
Well, even for anyone with strollers or carts, you can't get down those stairs. And like, I know some people with knee problems can't do those stairs to get down there from the main entrance.
We call them stairs.
Yeah, whatever they are. Tom? Because you've got a good walk around over there.
I've actually spent some good time down there between Rusty and I and with Brad Nickel. He and I spent some, when we put this list together and looking at things, the first thing, hopefully we don't get the cart before the horse on the survey and have all these big ideas when right now it's pretty much an embarrassment the way the town has let this place just deteriorate. I'm just scratching the surface when I say, needs repair. That mansion is rotting away. The sills, it said the windows are open, the electricity was kept on. We have fans running inside. The town needs to take this facility back, and have control over it. And, we have a well cover that's missing. There's just so much infrastructure, as you said, before we need to take care of what's there.
Right.
This year, we helped Dave Riley out by getting a dumpster down there instead of him getting attacked by raccoons, because all they had was the barrels out there and it would just stack up with trash. And he was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to get bit. Excuse me. So I think when you get down there to take a look at it and, walk from one end to the other, from the Pines all the way to the Boy Scout amphitheater.
Yeah.
We have a big tree that still needs we'll probably have to talk to the DEP this winter, try to get that tree out of there that came down during the storm. We still have that last one over there, way over, which is dangerous. It is very dangerous. There's so much potential on the lakeside, and their infrastructure is going to be key to looking at the lowland area where you're talking about. Brad told me about where he let some of that go, but there needs some culverts in there, and so we're going to need to look at somebody that knows landscaping and all that stuff. The future for me, why I'm involved in this is I don't have anybody in soccer, but I have a new one that just is going pre-K as of today. She went and got her tour, grandchild. So it's for her future and my soon-to-be grandson. And that place could be it just could be an unbelievable area for a old homes day. Anything we possibly, concerts, that you have the concerts in the park, or you could have, other things down there. It's just so underutilized and it's just deteriorating so quickly. So when you see this, take this with you. It's not the end all. But when like the shed or the ticket booth, when we say replace the ticket booth, that's not, gee, we really would like to. It'd be kind of a cool thing. That thing is molded. It's fallen down into the ground, and the mansion is heading that way also. It's horrible. And we really should the committee should really take a look at it when the season is over, when they're packing things up. We need to keep up on the why. We've spoken to them, but we really haven't watched over it. So that's where the picnic tables got a lot of damage, not only from the storm, but the way they stacked them. So that's a big cost to us in the long run. It comes back to us. I think, we're a town of a lot of landfills. I mean, not landfills, sand pits and gravel. We should tap into people that have, kids that have been using these fields. I'm sure we can get donations. We can get people to help us. So I was excited. I was jazzed up. It had been a while since I've been down there, but once you walk down there and see the potential of this place, and you get all excited about the Pines, that's where we should start.
Yeah,
when you start on the Pines, when you see
Cash
it's just unbelievable. And it wouldn't, even down there, would not take a lot. It would take, it would take some effort, but trimming trees and, getting some stuff, we need a plan in place in order for this to be done. So
I like the idea of, I hate to spend money on that ticket booth and then come into our meetings 2 months down the road, we're like, wow, we really should redesign the entrance and the exit of it.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it'd be horrible to so we're getting the plan.
Yes.
So we now can have the plan. When we redo the ticket booth, we know it's going to be here because this is what we're doing.
And I think as far as parking goes, you talk about parking, and I don't go down there, during any soccer games. We've got to get people off the road.
Yep, that's dangerous.
MUS, we're really good about hounding people off the road.
Oh, I know.
And
But
so it's because the lakeside's open that we don't have them on the road. But if we didn't have that, it would be a nightmare down there. It'd be a wicked nightmare.
So I think more so maybe the first thing is prioritizing danger, like holes where kids are gonna fall in. Buildings are like in a disarray. The shed is a tricky one where, the booth is difficult because if it's gonna move, it's kind of like what do? Do you just give them a first up? I
No,
mean,
you have to take a look, what are you gonna put there? You're gonna put it on a slab, can it be moved
Right.
later on?
Right,
Or
right,
do we
right.
set it back, or, do we come up with some type of a design? But, you're not gonna put anything in this year.
No.
But, we have all this stuff here, if we have somebody who can design things and what have you.
You could put it on a skid, so
Yeah.
they get towed around
There
where it's
you go.
needed. You
Perfect.
can look into like
Yeah, portable
the
shed.
Yeah.
technical program in Sanford and have the building construction students possibly come in and build it save some money on that end, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of places we can tap into. And, changing rooms there,
well, even if
Sure.
they don't even need to have a roof, just something that's enclosed where you can walk in and shut the door and change and.
Well, there is one nice one there, but it's falling apart. It hasn't been painted properly. It's, there's wood that's rotting, and
Right.
it's something that can be saved,
Mhm.
but it needs some TLC.
Right.
I think we're on the right path, and we
Yeah,
just need
gotta have a
to
plan. We need a
So-
plan.
figure out what it
Do you think
is.
mainly like maybe a walkabout when we all can do it on a weekend and kind of tick off like most urgent? And work our way down and then to have the dream list.
Yeah.
I'll
As
tell you right
grant-
now,
as
that
grants
bridge is
happen.
probably one
The
of the
bridge.
most urgent things that we have to look
For
into,
safety wise.
safety-wise.
And
that
are you
is
seeing that
eroding
being
away.
torn down or being
No,
redone?
have to be,
Redone.
well, I don't know if redone.
Is it long?
It's really long, and if you could
Oh,
get a
it is?
piece
It's
of
big.
equipment to pick it up and then reset it back, but that's a big piece of equipment to get down there to pick up that whole bridge.
Is this
And whether you-
right on the water where you go from like the
It's,
town?
if you take a left
On the
at the
left
beach
side.
and you,
Going towards the.
and you follow it down towards the Boy Scout end, there's a river that comes out,
Pictures.
and all of the sonotubes that used to be on it are all washed out.
Oh,
Well,
And we walked over it a few times before I saw it, and when I saw it, I was like, get off the bridge.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
because
sketchy.
liability wise, I think that is probably the most important thing is look at what's a true danger and needs to be done. So bridge is one of them. Like you said, the mansion apparently is experiencing a lot of heavy damage.
What is the mansion used for? Is it used at all?
Why?
Yeah, the Y uses it during the
And-
summertime.
Yes,
And that's something that we should, once again, if managed properly, if we look for something for the winter year round, we should have access
Well,
to
and
it
have like
also.
Kevin's idea where you had other places like another lake that has lots of programs that could use
Do we,
this.
do we involve the Y?
No,
I mean, just for
that's
their
between the select
input,
board.
I was just thinking
That's
for
the
their,
select
for their
board's-
input of what the
I've been,
property's lacking.
no, well, I've been keeping in track with the Y and just communicating with them. They've been doing a good job, like tracking all the data that we've asked them
Oh,
to
good.
track. So that gives us a number of like how many people are visiting the park, some areas. This year, I think, is a little wonky because of all the rain we got.
Right.
But we still had a lot of activity. And then one of the things they told me, I didn't realize this was happening, but there are other rec programs from other towns that
That
will
do.
bus up like 100
Yep.
people and bring them over to Bunganut, and we're only charging them $250. I can't imagine what that rec department on the other
Is
side is
making.
charging each person.
Yeah.
So
Not-
that is something we're not tapping
Not at
into. And it wasn't, we had talked about a fee structure, but, I didn't realize, like, after the Y got going, they were like, yeah, there's people who walk in, there's people who come in on motorcycles, there's people who come in on buses. I didn't realize any of that stuff, and they were telling me, and now I have that information. So hopefully we can also address the fee schedule maybe for the next season and see if we need to,
Especially the bus loads coming in and that's crazy.
And it's too bad this summer was so thrown off because I know we adjusted all of our prices and it'd be nice to see where that would come on a
Yeah,
normal
not-
summer.
not seeing an increase, but I do think the rain has a lot to do with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Right, but there's a lot of potential
Mhm.
to gain funds back where we're expending them for porta potties and trash and everything
Yeah, I
else
love
that
the
has to be
idea of
done.
like weddings and the Pines is a really beautiful spot. And I think, I've also talked to some other municipalities and, there's a place, Sullivan, which is up by Ellsworth, I think. I said, do you guys charge anything for your parks? And they said, no, we don't charge anything. All the parks are free. They do it by charity. Like they do what's called Sullivan Days every year. The town organizes like these fireworks and dancing and food and festivals. Granted, they're up near Ellsworth, so they probably have a lot of tourist attraction there, but they work to they get everything that's like, it's all paid for, they don't pay for anything. And so their Parks and Recs department and their fire department are funded through them doing Sullivan Days and bringing in money that way. And they get organizations like Pepsi Cola will donate, drinks, and they'll get these vendors to donate tents and stuff like that, and fireworks and whatever they need. So it's all, they spend a year collecting all this stuff and getting it together so that they can fund their fire department and their Parks and Rec. So I thought that was so cool. And then I've been seeing like Brownfield Days and like Clifford Days. So I've been seeing it around now that they've told me that. I'm like, oh, so other towns do this like festivities type thing to draw in money.
Yeah, or if there was a food truck Friday and you had the food trucks at the lake, and then people could come and still
And
do whatever.
Granted, it's probably a
It's
ways down the
yeah.
road, but if like Bunganut,
Thoughts.
was facilitated in such a way, like you could have festivals there. When we're not using it for the season, I don't see why we couldn't do like a fall festival and just bring
An
in.
apple festival,
Yeah.
maple syrup day or whatever, pancakes under the pavilion.
Even
Something
silent
thing.
auctions, I know the Springfield Library, that's their biggest fundraiser of the
Yeah.
years, a silent auction where
Oh,
everything is
yeah.
donated.
That's right.
They make a
They
ton
do
of
really
money
well
on
with
that.
So the
I like that
concept's
idea,
so
silent
much
auction.
potential.
Huh. It's hard when we start with no budget. But no, I really think that probably the first thing is seeing the property, seeing what's a danger, and then taking pictures once we're there so we can, have that.
That's what I'm trying to find. I know I
Yeah.
took a whole bunch and I
Yeah.
can't find them.
Yeah, and then having them, so maybe there could be a web
Oh, here they
page, like the pre's and the posts as we go, if
Oh, yeah.
if there's
Yeah, you guys
progress.
share stuff with me and we
Yeah.
can put stuff together. And
I have
Yeah.
a question. So, sorry, this would be dumb questions, but, so it's not, obviously it's not funded by the town at this point. So it would all be donation based and fundraising? So we're
grants and
allowed to
donations.
Or
fundraise?
self-sustaining if you're charging for some of these things that you're
Right.
building.
We get, I think, like anywhere from 30 to 40,000 that's brought in from the Y collecting tickets and stuff like that.
I know the year before we got like 22,000 back.
I thought it was about 30.
It was about 30. Yeah, we spent 80 something over there,
Right.
so.
I mean, we get something.
We get something back,
Just
yeah.
from that, and yeah.
And
But
it's-
yeah, it would be like grants and.
Okay,
And we definitely
but we
could
could
look at fundraising.
fundraise,
Yeah.
okay, and then there's porta potties over there?
Mhm. I don't know how many porta potties are over there.
There's 7. I increased it to 7, and I asked, if the Y felt like they needed more, they could reach out to me and stuff like that. So I do kind of depend on the Y to give me a lot of feedback, like,
And that's for the park and the Y?
I believe so.
There's 2 on the other
There's, yeah, there's
side.
one by the Pines, and then there's one up by where you park up top,
Mhm.
I believe.
And soccer field, I have a handicap and a regular.
And the Y doesn't pay for those?
No.
I believe they do put in either 1 or 2 that they do pay for, but they take them out when they're done.
Yeah, up by the mansion.
Yes.
No, but I think fundraising is a really good idea, the grants, I think, we can kind of brainstorm on fundraising, what would be a good way to start as well. But like I said, approach businesses and maybe,
Yeah, corporate sponsors, local businesses.
yeah, that would want to have their
Mhm.
name on a flag on the soccer field or something like that, and have their own ad or something
Yeah,
like
I've seen,
that.
because I've been like doing a reconnaissance at like other parks and stuff like that.
I love that.
And I've seen that a lot, like these really nice, granite benches, and it's had some placards, someone's name, so definitely a corporate sponsor, or anybody who wants to donate,
Mhm.
put, sometimes people want to donate and they want to put like a lost family member on it, right? Like sometimes they just want a memory of that
Yep.
person, so people do that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing one park, they have little bricks in their path, and each brick is whoever donated, and sometimes people go and they donate, they lost their father or something, and they put
Yeah,
it
memory,
there.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Like a stepping stone or something.
Yeah.
With a name on it, that's a really good idea too. Or like say if someone just wants to buy a stone.
mhm. It could be for it could be for your dog.
Well, exactly, it could be
Yeah.
anything, it could be a happy message.
And then you can go to that place and it'll work. And,
I mean, the one thing I noticed being there the times I have gone is like, it is not really easy for handicap. And that's one thing that's important to me. as we do develop anything down there, is like, the roots will take anyone out on certain sections. I think, some of the mats they have at some of the beaches are dropping gravel, where it's a smoother path for them, for people to walk.
I forgot how many yards of wood chips are out behind the field that, Brad showed me. There's a humongous side that could be used on the trail system.
Yeah, and be natural, and it's not gonna impact anything.
Correct, and that's legal by the DEP.
Mhm.
You start bringing other things in there, then
You're
you
gonna have
start
an
getting
issue.
into the DEP rules. So, yeah, that, he says there's enough in there to do the whole place.
Oh, wow.
Then the other one that we want to make sure that we have on the map is the United Way, used to be called Data Caring, but
Oh, yeah.
they've changed the name. I don't like the name, whatever they call it. Data Caring used to be, that you need to get, probably the time is now to talk to them. And now it's the Southern Maine United Way. It takes in Portland and what have you. And this is when businesses give up
Employees.
employees. They'll give them for a day.
Yeah.
And they'll come in and do work. And my wife used to be the president of Camp Laughing Moon, and they absolutely could not exist without the Data Caring.
Wow. So even having them help move chips over there and.
Chips, yeah. And you talk about moving buildings, they actually moved a building. They brought in
Wow.
flatbed and all the equipment, picked up a
Wow.
building and moved it.
Really? Wow.
And you did mention there's a lot of people in this town with a lot of businesses and companies and
equipment
things
and
like
You got
that.
excavators.
We did have a
bulldozers,
pretty
mini
great
Xs.
town cleanup day, so like we could do something like that
For Bunganut.
for just Bunganut. It doesn't even have
Yeah.
to be in April, like it can be whenever.
Mhm.
This is just town Bunganut day, you know?
Right. Yeah, like maybe in the fall where it's not so
Right.
hot and
Yeah.
and it's more.
Right.
People aren't as crazy busy.
Yep.
And schools already roll back and kind of a
Right.
routine. And
Yeah.
stuff like that. The
I'm
park
sure
closed
people
down,
can
you
come
don't have
out
to worry
with,
about getting in the
You know,
way,
cutters and cut some shrubs and
clean stuff
cut
up.
back some, rake the, whatever you
really
need to
good
do.
idea.
Like, I'm sure people would come out.
And I haven't been out there since, I took pictures a while ago, but I did talk to the Y, and they do have a program with kids. I think they try to utilize it. I don't remember what they called it, but they do try to clean up the trails, like while they're there doing their program. I don't know how far they've gotten. I walk some of the trails myself, and you get a little lost. You lose the trail sometimes, but so maybe they've helped clean up some too.
Yeah.
They were all marked at one time, right? They had marked them all with the Boy Scouts and
They were.
then they came in and logged it and all the signs
Yeah.
one way.
I thought someone was redoing those too. I thought I had heard that, was it the Boy Scouts?
I don't know.
So I think that's what's important with this committee right here, because we've all talked about this.
Right.
And start looking at a plan. If we get a plan together and a process, then it's easier to go out to talk to local businesses to get donations of either material or time of equipment or whatever. And just kind of list everything that we know is going on.
This is the next phase and this is what we're
Yeah.
looking to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think at some point we'll need, like what you did with Kennebunk Pond, and have an architect almost for some of the stuff when you get to the bigger portions of how to lay it out, and just maybe like if there's
Sounds
The
like
best way to-
construction,
Yeah.
landscape for
Yeah.
this job.
for some stuff. But I think like, so the park and stuff, you know what you worked before and will work again. If it's done right, and cleaned up.
Rusty, that land going into the parking, field side,
Mhm.
you got going up to the parking lot.
Yep.
You had the land to the right where,
It was gonna be.
it was gonna be. Is that still in play for parking or?
I personally don't think I think it's too much money to do that. I think to expand the upper parking lot out one car row is way cheaper than it would be to bring that up to level it. It was some spots that
It's a big
needed 4 or
difference.
5 feet of gravel
Yep.
just to make that a level parking lot out there. So if you took that and you just moved it up to the top and pushed it out, Brad and I walked it, and there was nothing that limited us on going out.
It was our property.
There was no big boulders.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Oh, you gotta look, yeah, the map is pretty cool. But it actually cut across the apple orchard a little bit. It's
Okay.
pretty big. That's part of Lyman Days right there. We'll go pick apples and we'll split a corner.
For someone
Apple pie
yesterday.
contest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's first meeting, I think this is great. We have some really great ideas.
I'm still stuck on the sledding. I want to go sledding. I hate winter, but yeah, someplace to go sledding would be great.
I know.
We've been wanting that for years and we never have enough snow because those
Yeah.
timbers stick out.
Right, if there was a nice
Yeah.
cleared path down that hill, the snow would
Yeah.
easily cover it.
You know, just in the winter, I mean, you can certainly go out in the winter. You don't necessarily need the trails, but there's nowhere to park.
Right, because they don't.
Yeah,
want
Because
to-
there's no
wintertime,
plowing.
and
We
the
plowed,
gates
we
are
plowed a
closed.
few times, but
Yeah.
And that's another thing that we talked about, the select board, is like, the gates are locked. So
Yeah.
it's only accessible to the residents of Lyman for 4 months out of the year.
we had the
You have
soccer
them
side
open.
plowed and unlocked for a little while last year so we could use the trails. But
That's true, the part of that's locked.
Mhm.
and
But I
That
thought
was-
we decided.
Well, that
to
was
go-
the field side,
Field
we
side.
decided to leave it unlocked,
Yeah.
but they still lock it.
Right.
They still, and,
They do.
Yeah,
You guys said.
you know, force a habit and, you know, good for them because they're protecting the fields, but.
I don't think
it-
that they were told.
It defeats the purpose of
no one can use it.
Lyman using that, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
well, even the Bunganut side, the lake side, I mean, it's like, why can't a resident,
It would be nice if that was unlocked too. So
Park
people could
there,
just
no
drive
window.
there and go
It's
down.
one of those things where you leave it unlocked and then you get the the mischief going on.
They kind of get in there anyway.
Yeah.
it does, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
The gate's not gonna stop
It's
it.
almost like the gate is not a deterrent.
No,
So if it's open, it's not a challenge.
right, I think what Karen in your committee did was the lights. I think having lights that come on when people go in there is key to cutting down on things happening. The dark seems to be like, yeah, we can do whatever, but a floodlight comes on and people tend to mosey on. And I think that's the same thing, whether, I said, no joke, we have a solar floodlight on our driveway that we've had up there now, because my son was into solar lights really little. It's been there 4 years and it's still the brightest thing you've ever seen, and it's solar powered. And it lights up like unbelievable when it's triggered. It was $60. It's easy enough to put something like that up that's a deterrent to anyone going down there to wreak havoc. You know, like we're having there the picnic benches, so if someone goes down to do something, the light comes on. They don't know if there's a camera there or not. They just know a light has come on now, and now,
Mhm.
you know, that's all it takes. As simple fixes like that, I think, to be able to allow residents to, why can't they go watch a sunset or sunrise down there? But they can't, the gate's locked.
Well, some areas I've gone to, I mean, they don't necessarily gate the parking area, they gate the park. So like you could always go in and park, but they, you know, when they're closing the park.
Right. I was just thinking that as long as, like, on the field side, they can't get to the field with a car.
Right, that's all that
And that's
matters.
the important thing.
That's
So
the
you do donuts in the parking lot, whoop-de-doo.
Right,
Same thing with the beach side, as
You
long as
just
they
want-
can't get
they can't roll
down
down
to the
the,
beach to mess up the grass, to mess up,
right, or drive off the cliff,
what's a
or,
donut in the
or
parking lot? But,
the hill for sledding. You don't want that.
oh my gosh, to see, I would be terrified, I
Yeah,
mean,
you have to have some kind of
tire
fence or
tracks on
rocks
that
there
field,
to prevent that.
oh, it would crush me.
But Yeah, lots of things, yeah, exactly, lots of boulders, there's plenty of those around here too, those are, again, everywhere. But yeah, I think more involvement for the townsfolk to use the park, because I think everyone's always thought, oh, it's just for sports, oh, it's just for the Y,
Mhm.
you
And I've
know?
noticed too, like parks that are really accessible, it's like the more activity there is, the less vandalism
Yep.
there. 'Cause there's, you might be walking around the woods for 10 minutes until you come across someone, but you're gonna come across somebody, so. I think that level of activity will also work hand in hand deterring the vandalism and something like that.
The more people that use it, maybe the more ownership to it,
Mhm.
so you wouldn't have that.
Right.
Maybe more people would speak up.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Friendship Park has done well with the lights and everything they put over there, you know, that type of thing. So
Are
it's-
dogs allowed in the park
No,
for
I don't
trail
think-
walking or anything
I
like
don't
that?
They haven't been, but I feel like if we have trails, they should be allowed.
That would be a big attraction.
Well, and I wonder if because I wondered if dogs aren't allowed because of the water.
They're not allowed in the field.
They're definitely,
Yeah.
No, on
And-
leash, on leash.
Yeah,
Not even
so
on the-
people
I wouldn't
could
have put them on the lakeside.
But I think
Have
for
them in
walking
water,
the
you'd have-
trails,
you know, what's that?
for walking trails.
Just for
Walking
the
trails.
trails.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not down in the playground area. You'd be
No,
area.
well, you can
Yeah,
almost
I
do like the
agree.
oceans there,
I
where it's
agree.
a time, so like 5 o'clock on to whatever, you can bring your dogs down.
Yeah,
Like the beach has like
Or
time
an
limits, or in
area.
the morning,
yeah.
you can have the dogs there,
Right.
certain
There's
areas.
Like most
there
camping sites have,
Yeah,
this
I
is a
think
dog
certain
area,
areas,
this is
yeah.
no
A
dog
dog
area.
Early morning,
Yeah,
and he's just throwing the ball for his
Yeah.
dog, and it's always in the off season, it's never during the summer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, so I think, yeah,
That would be-
thinking about that, because I mean, it is liability with the dogs there too, but that's something owners do. But lots to think about. So I think maybe, anything else anyone want to talk about? I mean, I don't think we're gonna be like meeting every week, I don't think that's like critical, I think. I don't know that kind of time, you know, like once every 3 weeks or so, or once a month, and we can, you know, hopefully get, I mean, we might want to meet more than once, like we'll want to do the walk, and then if we get thinking about fundraisers for the fall or for the winter, a winter snowshoe event to raise money, something like that, and really put some hype behind it, something like that would be kind of cool. S'mores in the woods, you could have a little tiny
It's cute.
flyer thing out there with, bring your kids and, you know, we're raising money for the park, and come and have a s'mores out in the middle of the woods, you know, easy hike in.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And we should also really, at the same time, talk about, I don't know if we bring this to the board or whatever, but what we're gonna do this winter as far as plowing. Because, you know, you came
Right.
last year and it worked. I remember when we opened that gate and it was plowed, you guys were, you know, ecstatic about it.
Yes,
It worked
it was
really well,
great.
and then, of course, it got closed. But if we're gonna start talking the other side, where, you know, where we are in plowing contracts, if we have that, or we
Next
got,
agenda.
hopefully.
There you go.
Would you utilize the lakeside more or the field side more for snowshoeing? What would you rather have plowed out?
The lake
I
side.
would think so too.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Because then we
Especially
could
if we
do the
sledding or
sledding
anything like that,
and-
you know.
You can just walk across if you use any other trails.
You know, we allow people to go ice fishing down there.
Ice skating, ice fishing, wood sledding, there's all kinds of things.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's always been locked, so no one's ever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, by the time the residents use it, you know, right, it's not just getting like that. We can do these
So
things.
the day I was down there, I just noticed that my picture was February. There was no snow.
Yeah.
But some people came down and they were out
Ice fishing.
playing hockey
Yep.
and
I
ice
remember
fishing
that.
and, you know, there was no snow on the lake.
But I think they parked on the road.
They parked on the
Well, they
road.
would have had to.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which,
Place to
yeah,
park.
so it's give them a place to park, so that's,
Even if, even if you set the gate in and you allow 10 spots on the road or something,
Yeah,
that's in this whole design.
I mean, we spent all this money on no parking signs. No parking on the side of the road. Well, where do you want us to park?
right, right.
So they just parked there.
Yeah, they did what they had to do. Awesome. So we'll maybe send some emails around after Labor Day and see when everyone's available to do a Saturday morning walk and bring our water, and hopefully it's not raining.
Raincoats.
Yeah, and between now and then, if anyone has, you said now was the time to contact Southern Meeting United Way, sort of kind
Yeah,
of.
I'll do that.
You
I
wanna
guess
do
we
that?
gotta find a scope for
Okay.
what would we want them to do.
They used to go, the Y used to have
Yeah, we
them
don't
come every
know yet.
year. They must have stopped.
They just clean up? Is it just?
You have to come up with a project list.
Yep, that's what I mean.
Yeah, but you come up
Okay.
with a project list and you submit it to them, and then they, you know, will submit it to the companies that are gonna volunteer. And they'll either, you know, you can supply tools, you know, if you have any, or they supply, you know, they'll bring chainsaws and what have you. Or if, you know, if there's a big project that needs to be done for excavating, you can try that too.
Yeah.
Sand and Gravel or Shaw Brothers or something like that. It can be a really good thing.
Does anyone want to look into the AARP Elder Friendly Program?
I will, because I'm kind of interested in that kind of bump
That
too.
is a good idea. So you'll take care of
Yeah.
that. And Holly, you're gonna get the land for Maine Future, whatever other, for grants. Just writing some of these things down. Was there anything else You're amazing at coming up with fundraisers, so if you want to come up with some ideas,
Sure.
some,
I'd love the snowshoe
I
one,
like the
or
snowshoe-
something like that.
Yeah.
yeah, just have like,
Something.
pick maybe two
Hot
or three.
cocoa,
Hot cocoa and s'mores.
s'mores.
Yeah, I mean, and the trails are big enough for a sleigh ride out there. So sleigh ride to the pavilion.
A sleigh ride would be super cute.
That would be really sweet. That'd be fun.
Oh, then you have your picture taken in front of that beautiful building.
Yeah. I'm a notary, so I'll have a wedding day. I can marry people.
So much
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah, I can be like, notary's gonna be in town. Line them up.
Line
Just
starts
like
at-
Vegas,
drive by.
right?
Line starts at
Vegas.
9 a.m.
It's our mini Las Vegas.
I can't,
Why not, right?
have any of you guys seen that? I know you've seen it. Have you seen the rock building I'm talking about, the stone building out there?
I've seen it.
It's such a cool little building. I felt like I was trespassing. I don't know whose it was at the time.
I know, it feels
I'm
like
glad to
that
know
way
it's-
when you're
What
down
was it?
there,
What
isn't
was
it?
It's so far
It
away.
is,
It's
I
like-
hate that
What
feeling.
was it, though?
You feel like you're not supposed to be there.
It was
I know,
part,
what's the history of it?
I
Does
think
anyone
it was part of the hotel that used to be down.
Oh,
there.
wow.
I did hear that.
There was a
I did
hotel,
see that.
actually Brad knew all the
Wow,
the
Are there
history.
any pictures?
I think
We'd
the
have to ask the
library
historical
has a
society.
book.
That'd be cool to
Oh.
see.
That would
It's
be
just,
cool.
it's like a stone wall up so high. and
There
then
was a
wooden structure
hotel,
above
I mean,
it.
there's no way anybody, most people in this town don't even know that. Like, the
Yeah.
fact that we don't have an old home days and that was something that was there
Isn't that
is
cool?
crazy.
It's the
Yeah.
it's actually across the street in the parking lot for the pond, for the watering pond.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's, if I remember, it's up on the
Yep,
hill.
up on, yep. up to
There's
it.
still some structure up there. Brad's the one that told me about it.
That'd be so cool to see the pictures, though, wouldn't it?
And just when the building's just screaming like
I
wedding
think there's a
photo.
lot of resources at the library, like
The
stuff that the
Historical
historical
Society
society
must
put
have.
together, little books. I think
Yeah.
that's where I saw it.
That'd be really neat to see.
I can't
That'd
wait
be
to
a cool
walk
part of
through.
the,
Find it.
what that is.
Yeah, I know I had seen it.
Cow, the pines.
And I don't have, I just have the picture of the view. I don't have and the wall.
All right.
I got the wall that needed,
Yeah.
I just took pictures of the repair that needed to be done on that wall.
Oh, that's right there though.
Yeah, it's right
that's
there.
it.
Yeah, that's it. Looking out at the lake, that's the backdrop.
It's so cool. It's really
I think
cool.
that's,
I'm just like, we're
The roof on
gonna
it
finally,
wasn't-
are gonna
wasn't
have
in
a
bad
10-year
shape.
plan with this thing or
Yeah.
whatever we call it.
Oh, there you go. You have it. Well, I have that. I was going for
It's
repairs.
just down the middle of the woods.
And then
There's
there's,
like a
and
little beaten path that goes to
that's
it.
another thing that
That's
goes
cool.
out there.
And that's not
Oh
doing
my
it
God,
justice, it's not doing it justice, but it's just
This
down the
oh,
is
hang
middle
some
of
of
the
those
woods.
taking
cool
in-
little lights in there
In the
and put
winter.
some flowers on there.
It's all-
Just put me in there, I'll be great, whoever comes by.
This might work. That's where I.
You can
when I'm
renew
doing
wedding
night
vows.
things,
Well,
yeah.
that's just it, it could be all romantical.
The amount, the drive that's out there for wedding
That's like
locations.
the,
Oh, like I said, you can make us a little
If you could
wedding
put up a
cabinet or
tent
something.
somewhere down
Yeah,
there.
that's Mount Kineo.
Right, or then you go to the lady next for their
It was a-
reception.
it's crazy.
And there's the amphitheater too.
Charity
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah,
Oh,
no clue, it's
yeah.
just sitting out in the woods.
So
You just
cute.
stumble on it, you're like, what's
That is
this?
so awesome, yeah, I didn't even know that was
That's Mount
there.
Kineo, yeah,
It's really cool.
yeah, it's really cool.
Or, I mean, you could rent it out
Yeah,
for a
what's
little
it like
party
now?
too, even for
I
some.
mean, it was,
Yeah.
it all kind of,
You know, it's really simple.
There
I
was a
mean,
hotel.
Lindsay,
on
do you feel
Kineo, too.
comfortable, like I say, even if
States
that
for
got to the
birthday
point where you could
parties.
rent it out for a party, for someone who wanted to have a private party or a little dinner out there or something.
You
I
know,
mean-
when I walked out there, I think the trail's not super clean.
Right.
No.
Although this was
Right,
before
that would
I
have to
got
be-
in there.
Yep.
Right,
And then like, that's the view now, like with all the trees. So like, I don't know, there's just little saplings.
yeah, they just need to cut down, it's just kind of a,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's a
like, what you
CEO
think of
thing.
that.
oh, is it?
And
Along the shoreline.
Isn't that close to it?
Yeah,
Say
but
that
It's
this,
100 feet
nice,
from
but I
the
feel like it
shoreline.
needs
this
You
is,
have to,
Yeah.
it's under a certain diameter.
3
You can take
inches.
3, you got the
I'm on the
She-
pond.
She's on the pond, she knows all the, yeah, so we'll take our tape measure out there and then do them now for the
There's those
ground.
trees.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, so I think that's really it for the
Then-
first meeting. Was everyone kind of feeling any other thoughts or direction to go or? Anybody?
It's a lot.
We gotta
Yeah,
waste,
it's a lot to
we,
start.
Yeah, it's a lot to,
and then the second we go down there and work this, we're all gonna have different opinions. We're all gonna be like,
I know.
oh, man, we need to do that. Oh, yeah, I hear you about that.
Well, I'm just looking, if anybody wants to see a couple of these pictures, this is February, so this will be what they have done in the past for winter, which we probably should not repeat.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go see now where everything's all good. All the picnic
Yeah,
tables
Lindsay's
around.
done a lot with communicating with
Yeah, well,
the Y to get things
We
back in
gotta,
there.
we gotta let them see how they do.
well, I think
We
we
will
need,
aspire.
no, I think we need to give them some direction of what we want them to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
They
Well,
may
and
think
then
that's
you
good to
guys
put
have
the
an
picnic tables up,
opportunity to
lean them
use
up against the building. We may not want to do that, because like Brad said, put
Put the
the,
stress on those bottom two legs.
you put it, yeah, on the bottom two and they rot, right?
That's not-
Right, yeah, there are different ways of doing it.
They're all scattered through the woods.
Well, they said that's not true. They're here.
All right.
So that you guys can
Sweet.
use it, so.
No,
Around.
I think we made some
They
progress.
said around campers.
This one. This.
That one.
That's what they said.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Yeah, and
Oh, this is
in a
good.
second, anybody? Second?
Far out
All right.
the field goes.
All in favor?
Like, that's
All right,
weird.
meeting adjourned. Awesome.
That's really strange.
Great.
I don't understand.
What?
What, that's all?